Hello everyone, Brad Johnson here. Here I am on day 2 on Salt Spring Island. Again, still at my favorite park on this island. And I'm going to be sharing an interesting story with all of you. But while I'm doing it, I'm going to be making a trek. Making a trek all across this area of the park. And just going out to that rocky area there by the water. And hopefully by the time I'm over there, I'll be able to finish my story, where I'm going to be talking about my journey to the divine. And so, about to embark on a little walk journey with all of you. And first, just going to take in some of the beautiful scenery here. BC ferries. It's exactly what I used to get here. And so, I used to do some of these walking videos in the past, quite a bit. I haven't done them in a while. I thought since I'm on Salt Spring Island, since I'm in such a beautiful space, I want to really show you guys this park as well too, how beautiful it is. I thought this would be the perfect opportunity that while I walk, I also tell you the story. About the story pertaining to my journey to the divine. And so it all started in 2008. I wanted to make a science fiction novel. I wanted to do something that really just kind of inspired my impulse to find out a lot more about the extraterrestrial presence. From what so many people have been reporting over the years, I remember as a kid, I used to watch a lot of these videos on YouTube about people having ET sightings, seeing the Greys, having contact, going on board ships, having these probes, so to speak. And I was always so fascinated by it just as a little kid. And so just something clicked into me that day. Said, I think I need to start writing a novel about this, because I was very much into writing books at that time, writing short stories, even writing screenplays as well too. So as I got into the as I got the idea of writing this book, I wanted to do some research on the internet. I wanted to find out what the truth was behind this whole idea of ETs. Presence of extraterrestrials. What was it all about? So I started researching channelers, psychics, intuitives, contactees, black ops personnel, just to get some of their testimony, get some of their perspective about the ET presence. And when I started looking deeper into this, it just blew me away. It was nothing what I thought the extraterrestrial presence was about. They were talking about it on such a deep spiritual level, it just threw me for a loop. So come on guys, aren't ETs like these like banana-headed creatures with a second jaw coming out, right, trying to invade the planet? Aren't they kind of more animalistic or anything of that nature? But as I continued to research, that was not the case. I'm just going to show you guys as I walk down this path. That was not the case at all. These presences of extraterrestrials that a lot of people have reported on have talked about the idea of of them being very spiritual. Being very spiritual, being very loving. They believe in a one infinite creator, they believe in God, and that they're here to assist humanity at this time. They're helping out behind the scenes, and they want to help in our upliftment. They want to eventually bring humanity together with themselves and live together in harmony. I'd never heard of this before. So it really surprised me to hear about this research. So I was so fascinated by it, particularly the channeling portion. And I decided to put the novel aside, and I wanted to do a just wanted to do some research about channeling itself. Channeling was so fascinating to me. Just watching these people going into these altered states of consciousness and just observe them going into these states and being able to bring forward these other personalities that come into them as they start bringing in these really beautiful messages. It was wonderful to me. So I started off firstly as a journalist, in a way, just getting an understanding about how the channelers would be able to go into these states. And so they were teaching me. I learned from quite a few of them. So I said, well, don't you have to go into like some sort of trance state? Do you have to like kind of zonk yourself out, go into an unconscious state, and then bring in that intelligence? And they said, no. I do it in a conscious way. I basically just get myself nice and relaxed, nice and comfortable. I clear my mind, and then I let the intelligence come in, and then a conversation begins. That's so simple. That was so simple. I can't believe that. So this is what led me into getting into channeling. So starting off firstly as a journalist, kind of, in that way, just getting ideas from different channelers and mediums about what they would do, and then I would start doing it. And I was able to pick up on channeling quite quickly. It really did not take me long to go into the channeling state. I'd say within a couple of weeks, I was starting to channel for the very first time. So that's really what began my journey. And I didn't go right to the entity known as Adronis. That was not the first step. The first step was actually going to communicate with some collective consciousnesses. So when it came to Pleiades, Arcturus, Lyra, I communicated with different collective intelligences, but not really what I would consider to be a single entity. It was always collective consciousness information. Okay, I had to double back a little bit because I was going down the wrong trail. I was going to another part of the park. I haven't been down this trail for quite some time to hike to the other part of the park, so you have to forgive me. But hey, at least I got you some nice shots there of another trail. Anyways, as I was saying, pertaining to the channeling journey, which really started my overall journey, I started connecting with collective consciousness. And I did that for a little bit, for a couple of months. And it was around December of 2008 when a friend of mine, who was also a channeler, messaged me one day and said, "Hey Brad, I just want you to know that I got some type of contact. I got a contact from, felt like a being from Sirius, and that they wanted me to tell you to reach out to them. That there's some type of connection that you have when you connect with Sirius. And they just wanted me to let you know to get in touch with them because they want to make contact with you." So I'm like, okay, sure, no problem, sounds good. He would pop in every now and then, give me these kind of messages, because he was one of the guys that I was kind of interviewing quite a bit about channeling. So he just gave me that little cue. So just go ahead and connect with the star of Sirius. And how I would do that is I would just close my eyes, get myself relaxed, get into a calm state, and I would bring my heart tether to the star of Sirius A. So I would see what I felt Sirius A represented in my heart, and I would just imagine a tether coming out of the heart and connecting directly to that star. And so that is exactly what I did. I tethered to Sirius A, and I just kind of thought projected the intention that if anyone is here that wants to talk to me, I'm here. Would anybody like to present themselves to me? And within less than a second, I am Adronis of Sirius. There he came. He wasted no time. He came right in. The flow was so clear. It was so pure. Here's where I'm going, guys. Just heading up this way. It was so clear. It was so pure. He was telling me, again, just kind of what I've told so many people over the years. Exactly what he told me was, I am a future version of you, 297 years in the future. I've come back at this time to assist you in your spiritual evolution. And as you spiritually evolve, you will be working together to help others spiritually evolve, and they will walk together with you. Is this something that you want to do? I said, well, of course. This is absolutely something that I want to do. Now, this is quite common through channelers, is they have what's known as pre-incarnation agreements. And so I had this agreement with Adronis. As he popped in, he came into my life, and he was sharing with me a lot of profound things. Some of it was kind of very deeply personal, which I'm not really going to get into. But he was really helping me put all the pieces back together, because at the time I was feeling quite scattered. I haven't really done a lot of my inner healing at that time. I was just so fascinated in channeling. And I knew that there were certain things I had to let go of. That's kind of obvious. But he helped me in so many ways. I can't even begin to articulate it. A lot of it was very personal, very deep, and it was a godsend because it really helped me to get my life back on track. Okay, I just had to focus there for a second because there was a pretty steep little drop here. So I'm just focusing more on my footing right now rather than the story, so just bear with me. Looks like we have some nice natural stairs here going down the path, and this leads on to a bridge to the other side. It's just a wonderful feeling being inside this park again. It's where I say that Salt Spring Island is so crystallized with pure loving energy. That's why I love coming here, especially here in Ruckle Park in Salt Spring Island. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Adronis really helped to put a lot of pieces together for me that I could not see. And it helped me to make some very big and hard decisions. But it basically left me to make the decision to leave the ex-wife that I was with, to leave the house and go out on my own, which was by far the most difficult decision I've ever had to make. I'm almost stumbling just by remembering this. It was the most difficult thing, most difficult choice I ever had to make, right? I had to make that choice. It was a very, very toxic marriage. I could not see it, not until Adronis was helping me to put the pieces together, and it was time. So I ventured out on my own, went into my own place, and I had no family, no friends supporting me whatsoever with this journey. They were all extremely angry with me, with my decision to end the marriage, with my decision to go on my own. Even my ex and I had a very big fight with the breakup. I had to break up with her twice, by the way. Tried to do it the first time, I still couldn't do it. Kind of sat on it for a couple of months. And then the second time, I was able to do it. It was very, very difficult. It was not an easy thing to do. And I've had clients that have gone through similar situations also. And it's the biggest decision of your life. You walk this path. You walk the spiritual path. And it's kind of like two roads. Right? It's kind of like this trail right here. Okay, we got a lot of bumps. We got a lot of roots sticking out. It's a very uneven trail. For someone who may have problems walking, that's going to be very, very difficult for them. And then there's another trail that has no bumps whatsoever. It's all smooth. It looks really, really easy. Then you take your first step on that easy trail and you nearly fall through the trail. You nearly fall right through, breaking off the cliff. And of course, we have this trail. We have the rocks. We have the bumps. You have to really be aware of where you're stepping so you don't fall and injure yourself. But once you focus and you see what's ahead of you, you're going to make it through. You're going to make it through this bumpy trail with all these rocks and roots protruding, and the trail's going to get a little bit easier. You just have to now know when to duck. And then as you duck, you see again a little bit more of a simpler trail, just with some shrubs in the way. keep walking. That was very much my advice from Adronis. He said, when you walk the spiritual path, it is going to be very rocky. It's going to be somewhat treacherous looking at first. This is only telling you that you need to focus because you have put those sabotaging thoughts there that have prevented you from growing. And it is cultivated into this treacherous looking trail. But if you keep walking and you just focus and you work with the mind, you will get through those obstacles and the path will become smoother. But if you're walking this other path that is really deceiving and think it's so soft and easy, as soon as you take the first step, you almost lose your footing and you almost fall off the cliff. Like what I talked about with the lower world and the higher world. So anyways, that's what really began my journey through channeling. It was so very important. It was such a powerful milestone for me going into a bigger journey that I still didn't even have any idea how big it was going to get. So again, I channeled for several years, connecting with Adronis. I was also connected with some others as well too. Did sessions from 2009 up until 2021. So basically having that amount of time with Adronis, just having these conversations with people. It started off kind of full-time, then it kind of went part-time after that. And of course, that's when I got the message. The message was for me to cut the net pertaining to channeling. Because I have done so much phase growth. So many phases of growth have come forward in my life throughout that course. As I started moving into the years of 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, that was much more of a pre-yoga path, I would say. That was kind of like the path of the yogi, being born within myself. And that really wasn't even a path I was looking to follow. I was so interested in channeling. I was so interested in mediumship and psychic development. I was so interested in healing. I was interested in magic. I was interested in astrology. I was interested in remote viewing. Right? There was a lot of these different things, just more on the psychic and higher mind level, that I was so incredibly fascinated with. And here we are. We're coming up to the bridge. So all those things were so fascinating to me. But I would have these revelations, just pertaining to wanting to connect a lot more deeper to God. And when I first started, I wasn't really too interested in that. I really wouldn't even say the word God. I didn't like that word God, actually, when I was first starting out, because I was raised as Jehovah's Witness. And, I had a lot of that religious crap thrown in my face when I was a little kid. And I did not like it. I was pretty quiet about it to the family. But no, I did not like it one single bit. Here we go, this beautiful bridge here. Going across, taking you guys on a beautiful adventure here. So no, I did not like that word. So I would always refer to God as the universe, or I would refer to it as creation, or I would refer to it as source, right? But I had to heal that. I had to heal that as I started getting into this new path, kind of like the pre-yogi path in 2018. I had to heal that. I had to be okay with saying God. Because I realized that it was me that was giving that term the meaning that it was. I was giving it a bad name. I was giving it the taboo. I was making it forbidden. It wasn't anybody else. There's nobody else here. Because that's what I'd always teach people. I'd teach people there's nobody else here. Adronis would say that all the time. There's nobody else here. You're the only one in your reality. And why do I have such a problem with God? Why do I have such a problem with that word? It's because of the upbringing. It's because of the wounds that I went through pertaining to that experience. So I knew I had to heal that. And I did. Here we are now. Give you a little 360-degree perspective. So I knew I had to heal that. It was not anybody else's fault. That was something that I painted upon the Word of God. Was the idea of something that was stained with disinformation, with misinformation, And I healed it all up. Then I had no problem saying God anymore. I was able to say God this and God that and God, 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 God. And I was starting to look into, referring to God as the mother, the father. Right? I remember the times too where I'd be saying the Father, the Father, the Father. People would get mad at me. Brad, why are you saying the Father? What about the mother? Isn't the mother there too? Well, of course the mother's there. And I just told them there's times where I say the mother, there's times where I say the father. Doesn't mean I'm being discriminatory based upon the state of gender relating to God. As I go into the flow, sometimes the father comes in. As I go into flow, sometimes the mother comes in. As of late, it's been a lot more of the mother. But back then, it was pretty much just saying God and mother and father and just being able to look much more into the true path, right? What I used to call the creator's path. But that isn't even really quite accurate, because if you're still looking at creator, you're still looking at creation, right? And that's not the idea. Creation is the mind. And so I was just slowly starting to venture towards going into the non-dual. And that really was starting my journey, say around 2019, 2020. Right? I was still just kind of digesting the nature of God and attempting to get out of the mind. And it wasn't until June of last year that I really had my breakthrough, when I was doing self-inquiry, self-abidance. And I would I did self-inquiry for the very first time, and I just broke through the boundaries. I said, I get it now. Now I really know what they mean by the non-dual. Now I really get what they mean by no mind, right? And that was just June of last year. So it's been almost a year now since I've really heavily walked the path of the non-dual, which is the path of the yogi, really. And so my journey towards the divine really had some ups and downs. I'm still giving you guys kind of an elevator version, despite having this nice long walk with all of you. But the journey to the divine, it has not always been just, one big shining rainbow that you easily climb up and you slide down like a slide. It doesn't work that way. No. You have to break yourself down and you have to build yourself back up. That's exactly what I did. This was not an easy path. When I first started, guys, no. I went through hell. I went through hell breaking myself down. I had to sacrifice everything. Like I said, I had no family. I had no friends supporting me upon this path when I first began. Everything's pretty much cool now as far as the family goes. Old friends have pretty much come and gone. Don't really see them anymore. But no, they were infuriated with me that I decided to leave my marriage, that I decided to become a channel. So, Brad, you becoming a preacher? You're like turning into like some sort of priest? You're like trying to preach the good news here? Yeah. So I'd get mocked. Brad's starting a cult, I think. I think what he wants to do, he just wants to start a cult. He wants to leave his marriage behind so he can have a cult. I'm like, really? And what's my cult called? What's that all about? Oh, shut up. Right? So there'd always be those kind of excuses at the same time. But that's okay. That's exactly what you have to go through. Okay, just getting through this rocky path here. So yeah, that was really much what I dealt with. And I dealt with that for, I'd say, about a solid year and a half of just being basically mocked by the family, by friends. One member of my family thought I was just going insane, thought I needed psychological help. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, it was a very, very tough time. You have to go through sacrifice. It's a very intense experience. I mean, it all depends upon how you're raised, really. If you're raised into this, you probably don't have to, right? Everybody's different. For me, that was really what I had to go through. A lot of people I've talked to who have had a lot of problems with family and friends, they have had to go through this as well, too. They had to go through hell. They had to go through sacrifice. Because in all due respect, we were living the wrong kind of life. We were living the life incompatible for us. And I've talked to many people like that, who have basically said, yeah, I had to leave my wife, I had to leave my husband, I had to leave my family behind, because it was just so toxic, and I was constantly getting the guidance. It's time to move on. It's time to go out of this nest. It's time to create a brand new nest. And you need to move forward in this way. And so that has been the journey, not just for myself, but for a lot of other people too. And I commend those people for having the journey that they have had. It is not an easy transition from living the material life to just being guided, especially in your adult years, to walking this path, right? Whether you're in your teens, whether you're in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, what have you. When you start living a very materialized path, which is what I was doing, because I basically said hell no to religion and cast it aside when I was a teenager. I wanted nothing to do with anything of that nature. I believed in God, but I didn't want to believe in God in the way that religion portrayed God, because I thought that was just a bunch of crap. And in many ways, I still do feel that way. But what I was able to heal was my impression of God, of just that word, just that term, right? I was able to heal that, and for that I was very happy that I did that. So my journey as of late, like I said, I'd say probably within the past year, is moving a lot more towards the path of the yogi. Just recently, as I talked about on my channel, I ended things with my fiance not too long ago. Not because she did anything wrong, nothing at all. Nothing was her fault whatsoever. It was just time to let that go. It was time to end that relationship because I was walking one way and she was walking another way. And so we parted ways. And it was a very, I'd say it was a clean parting of ways. It was on good terms. I was actually just speaking to her last night as well too. Everything is good on her end. Everything is good on my end. So I'm basically starting to live life now, free of attachments. I had that near 14 years of attachments in my life that I have completely cleaned up. Thank goodness. It was a lot, right? This was not an easy path for me whatsoever. I know that's not an easy path for a lot of you guys who are going through this also. But this is the journey to the divine. And here we are. Here we are on the path. Probably not going to walk down that way. There's a lot of seaweed there. I'll probably slip and break my neck. My shoes are good, but they're not that good. So I'm just going to go over to the edge here. And just take in this beautiful sight for a moment as I continue to share more of my story with you guys. My journey to the divine. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. Of course, it doesn't beat being here in person, but it'll have to make do. This is a brand new camera I got as well too, so its quality is supposed to be a lot better. So anyways, walking the path of the divine, it's like I said, it all depends on the person. If a person, since they were very young, if they were able to be taught the proper ways by their parents, if they have a really good spiritual life when they're younger, they would not have to go through so much sacrifice. It's like I said, it's with us in the adult years when we're living a wrong path, okay? And I don't really like to use that word wrong too much. It just wasn't a compatible path. It was an incompatible path to how I was living. It's not to say that I didn't enjoy writing books. It's not that I didn't enjoy writing screenplays. It's not that I didn't enjoy all the things that I used to do. But it doesn't really thrill me anymore, right? Those are just old things that have, they've passed their time. That's the best way I can really put it. They've passed the time, and I don't really have that need to, write science fiction novels or write screenplays or anything of that nature. That's what I used to do back in 2007, early 2008. I actually wrote an independent screenplay for a small company. I don't know if they ever made the film though. It was kind of like an American Pie-like comedy, so that was interesting. But no, I had to give all that stuff up, and I reversioned it in a way just pertaining to the work that I was doing. So building my own website and making videos like how I did. Like I said, I used to do video editing as well too. And so I've incorporated that into this. So it hasn't been gone completely, it's just changed form. The old form was no longer compatible with me, the new form is. But this whole journey has really shown me everything. It has shown me that I am everyone and that I'm everything. It has shown me that I am not the body and that I am not the mind. It has shown me to truly live within the non-dual. It has shown me more of the path of the yogi. Like I said, that was really not my intention when I was first starting this path. It was just to get into channeling. It was to look into psychic ability. It was looking into mediumship. That's really what I wanted to go. But the current is kind of like I see here with the water. The current has another idea for you. The current has other plans for you. You try to swim against the current, but the waves of the current will push you upon this new land, and you have new things to look into. God has plans for you. And that certainly has been my journey. And some people may ask, well, Brad, what do you do on a daily basis? Like, what's your daily life like? Are you just like meditating all the time? No, guys. I really only meditate about 20, 30 minutes per day, right? And I'll do like some morning yoga, and then I'll of course do some sessions. I'm also busy putting together the healing code card orders as well too, so I'm doing that. But I'll take like a small break, and I'll just get in my car and I'll drive out to the beach, I'll drive out to the park, I'll go get some groceries, whatever I need to do. I'll run my errands. Sometimes I'll bump into people who are friendly and I'll say hello to them. But no, I still run a kind of human life, in the best way I can put it. I'm not sitting on my couch 8 to 10 hours a day meditating. No, I've never been able to do that. I don't really have patience for a long meditation. I've never had patience for it, because then I meditate for a while, say, okay, I'm tired of this, let me go do something else. So I'll meditate. The longest I've ever meditated was like an hour. I've never meditated longer than that. I just don't have the patience for it. And I don't really need to do that. Instead, I've always had maybe about the 20 to 45 minute range of meditation. And all that is just being able to kind of go into the higher mind, be in the higher mind, and just kind of breathe things out. Sometimes thoughts may come in, and all we're doing is we're just breathing it out. We're doing heart rate variability, right? We're stimulating the parasympathetic, and we're just getting ourselves calm. And for those 20, 45 minutes, I just work towards that and just attempt to stay in still mind for a short amount of time. And that's my meditation. Most of the times I will do meditation in the evening. I will not do it in the daytime. The daytime is because I'm so active during the day. I want to go out. I kind of get hyper when the sun comes out, when the daylight shines. I get hyper and I want to do some things. I want to become more active during the daytime. And then when nighttime comes, that's when I start winding down. That's when I start doing meditation, and as of late, yoga nidra at the same time. But no, I go out to parks, just like you guys see me here, right? Decided to go to Salt Spring for this weekend because I'm going to be doing an event tomorrow on Vancouver Island in Parksville, a free event. So I decided to come here 2 days early and just enjoy the sights of Salt Spring Island. So this is a lot of what I do. I just spend time in nature, and I can talk to nature at times as well too. I'll just put my hand on a tree. I'll just connect to the tree. I'll feel the tree's roots. I'll feel the tree just telling me a story about the forest. I'll put my feet on the ground. I'll connect with the land. I'll feel the land breathing, right? And it's just so much more beautiful coming out into nature where you feel so at peace with everything. If you really want to know how you're one with everything, you want to go out to nature, right? You can do it in the city, but you have to really, really ground yourself. You have to really center yourself, because you just have so much distraction and you have so many people everywhere constantly just blabbing on their cell phones and talking about worldly things. Now, the best place to do it is to go out into nature, right? And to really feel the life around you, feel the connection to oneness all around you. So a lot of what I do on a daily basis is just going out into nature, doing my work, doing some meditation, doing some yoga, once in a while maybe go to the gym, get some groceries, right? Do the human things like I usually do. But basically just living in a world right now that is free of attachment, right? You just come to this point in your life where attachment is not needed anymore, right? This is exactly why I left my fiance. Nothing that she did wrong at all, right? Nothing that I really did wrong at all. We were just walking two different paths, and it was just time to move on, and for me to really follow this path without any attachments whatsoever. Like I said, I'm now walking the path of the yogi. So my intention here is in the next few months, because the restrictions are going to be changing here. I think they may already be changing also. I was talking to a friend of mine. He says, well, Brad, as long as you don't go on Air Canada, you should be able to travel to other places of the world right now. Just don't go through Air Canada because they're the ones that are picky with vaccinations and stuff. So restrictions are certainly changing. So that's great to hear. So I'm going to be looking into that. But my goal is to go to Rishikesh here in the next few months, probably for about 3 weeks to a month. And I'm going to be learning a rare type of yoga there called Swara Yoga. And so that's going to be very interesting because once I learn that, I'm going to be teaching it to you guys as I'm starting this new student platform, which is going to be debuting next week. So I'm looking forward to that also. I'm also going to be connecting with my friend Forrest Knudsen in California. And when the chance is right, I'll go down to California and get initiated into Kriya Yoga as well too. So Kriya Yoga and Swara Yoga will be two of my initiate yogi practices. But I'm always studying many different facets of yoga, whether I have a teacher there or not. I'm always kind of gathering knowledge. And I kind of have spirit with me filling in the blanks, right? So if I research something and I look into it a little bit more, spirit kind of chimes in and tells me more of these things that I can do with it. And so spirit has always been my yoga teacher. Spirit has always been my channeling teacher. Spirit has always been my healing teacher, right? It's always been spirit. I have not had a physical, direct teacher, ever. I have talked to people, right? Spirit kind of lays them out in front of me, and I talk to certain people, or sometimes I'll read some books where people are talking about this certain aspect of yoga, but it wouldn't really be considered direct channeling, or direct teaching, I would say. So I would just look into it, and Spirit would just chime in and fill the blanks as the teacher for me. So primarily, almost everything that I've done throughout this path has been taught to me by Spirit. It has not been taught to me by a man or a woman. Right? And that's really a very exciting thing because I know Spirit will always chime in when the time is right and give me more guidance about what I'm here to do and continue to develop my path as I journey further into the divine. So thank you guys for joining me on this journey. I was happy to have this little walk with you guys and share a little bit more about myself in this video. Hope you are well. Blessings to you all. Continue to follow your heart. Listen to your intuition. Even though it may be very, very challenging of where you're being guided to go, once you're there, the rewards are far greater than we can ever imagine. Blessings to you all. Namaskar. And I'll speak to you again in the next video. Thank you very much for checking out the New Earth Teachings YouTube channel. Feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And you can check out the websites newearthteachings.com, where you can order a private session, 3 questions by email, EQ method, and a lot more. And you can also check out healingcodecards.com, where you can grab your mind deck, your body deck, and of course the brand new Body Deck Special Edition. All of these are available in digital editions as well. And you can also get a shirt just like this through healingcodeshop.com, where you can experience the healing codes in apparel form. So feel free to check out these websites. Thank you so much, and I'll speak to you again in the next video. Be well.